Hi, I'm Dan Teicher, a composer for film and television based out of New York City and co-founder of Immersive Music Sound, a company focused on music and sound design for immersive environments like virtual reality. Recently, I had the opportunity to compose music for a 180 VR music video to showcase the immersive storytelling potential of Canon's RF 5.2mm f2.8L dual fisheye lens. If you have a VR headset, check out the link below. It's a journey through some of the music styles and concert venues that have made New York a legendary destination for music. But most importantly, it's a great example of how to approach audio and VR to enhance the immersive experience for your audience. It's also the subject of this video, so let's dive in. Imagine you're in a room. On one side, a person's playing guitar. On the other, someone's playing drums. If you move towards a particular musician, you'd hear their instrument a little louder and more clearly than the other. Similarly, think of how the direction you hear someone's voice would change if they move from speaking into your right ear to in front of you, then to your left ear. The technique of recreating sound with these three-dimensional, true-to-life qualities is one of the primary features of spatial audio, and it's a powerful way to add another layer of immersiveness to your VR productions. Today, I'll be sharing an overview of my process for creating the spatial audio for our Musical History of New York VR video, from composing the music and recording the audio, to designing the audio mix for a 180 VR environment, and implementing the work in post-production. While spatial audio may seem complicated, those with some experience in sound design will recognize many of the steps along the way. And once you familiarize yourself with the process, your VR productions will take on a whole new dimension of realism. The backbone of our project is an original composition that takes the listener on a journey through New York's rich folk, jazz, and rock history. As with any film, the music is there to help tell a story and elicit an emotional response in the viewer. As the visuals of our film guide you through some of the city's legendary concert venues, I wanted the music to make the audience feel like they were stepping back in time, connecting them to the locations in a visceral way. Writing music for this VR project was not much different from writing music for a 2D film, except that I considered sounds and recording techniques that were both period appropriate and would work well in a three-dimensional 180 visual environment. However, it's the recording process where things are done a bit differently, particularly with regard to equipment. There are many ways to capture audio for an immersive mix. One way is to record spatial audio, which in turn can be done in a few ways, such as with binaural and ambisonic microphones. For our project, we wanted to use a combination of techniques to best capture the essence of each genre and the atmosphere in their respective venue. To achieve this, we recorded each instrument with traditional microphones as they would have been recorded in their respective eras. Then, we used an ambisonic microphone to capture the directionality of each musician's instrument on stage at each venue, so that we could map the original recordings to where each musician was positioned in that space. Later on, when we're in the mixing stage, all of this audio information will help us to create and connect the accurate and immersive spatial audio sound experience with our 180 VR video imagery, all with synchronized head tracking. Speaking of which, it's time to talk about mixing for VR. Spatial audio mixing differs from typical stereo mixing in several ways. While stereo sound merely creates the illusion of immersion through two audio channels, left and right, spatial sound creates a multi-dimensional, interactive soundscape that wraps around the listener in 360 degrees, including elevation information. So, when you're designing audio for a VR video project, you're always looking for ways to use sound to enhance the sense of presence and spatial awareness in the virtual world. It helps the viewer to connect to the VR environment and to the story. You also have to think about sound as it exists in a 3D space, meaning using your audio to create depth and accentuate the location. Consider how differently something would sound outdoors versus indoors in a concrete room where the sound would reverberate. Some of the techniques I use to create that effect are locating each sound within the 360-degree space, changing its volume level, as well as using EQ and adding effects to it like reverb and delay. For this project, we even pulled some cool tricks like capturing the natural reverb of each venue in the form of an impulse response. We popped a balloon to create a full-frequency sonic impulse and recorded the resulting sound in each location using an Ambisonic microphone. Then, we used the recording as an impulse response in a software plugin, which adds reverb to the elements of our mix. By applying the reverb to music that may have been recorded elsewhere, we can recreate what it would sound like if it was performed in that space. Now, with all the elements in place, we're ready to test the mix. Since your project's audio is designed for spatial realism and interactivity, it's important to pay very close attention to the details of your mix, thoroughly testing and fine-tuning your audio to achieve maximum effect. Practice makes perfect here, and becoming adept at spatial mixing will entail plenty of trial and error. Here are a couple tips on what to look out for to ensure the highest quality of your mix. Firstly, make sure your content conforms to the technical specifications for the destination it's intended. For instance, the spatial audio specifications for Meta Quest content differ from that of YouTube. You may need to plan on creating different exports for use on different platforms. And keep in mind that the specifications for each platform are constantly evolving, so be sure to refer to each destination's technical requirements. Secondly, it's imperative to experience the mix in the same context the audience will experience it. That means listening to your mix several times in a variety of ways to cover the full range of possible experiences for that audience. For instance, with head tracking, I would want to be watching the VR video, looking in various directions throughout the entire piece, and listening to the mix over multiple viewings. It's important to remember that this is only a simplified overview of my experience composing immersive music for this particular project. The worlds of sound design and spatial audio are vast. How deep you want to get into these art forms is up to you. Our hope is that today we've inspired you to start thinking three-dimensionally about the audio of your VR productions so that you can make the most immersive and impressive content possible. Even if you're new to VR filmmaking, with tools like Ambisonic microphones and Canon's RF 5.2mm f2.8L dual fisheye lens, creators now have the ability to produce professional quality virtual reality experiences. In other words, there's nothing holding you back from making the next VR masterpiece. We can't wait to see what you come up with. Thank you for watching.